All right, guys, are you ready to do this one?
Yeah, let's do it. What was that?
The children of the night. What music they make.
Count Dracula, what are you doing here?
You're going to review my movie, aren't you?
The 90s Bram Stoker adaptation, yeah.
Good. Then I'll just stand here and watch for curiosity's sake.
Well, that's just great. Hey everyone, welcome to the horror show. I'm Cecil Laird.
I'm Susie von Slaughter.
I am Dracula in Fuego.
And we are here to review the Patreon request from our friends over on our Patreon. This was the poll winner for one of the months. I don't know which one, doesn't matter.
Whatever month it was, we are here now.
We are going to talk about it, and we are going to be going into the 90s Bram Stoker's Dracula, featuring Winona Ryder, Keanu Reeves, Anthony Hopkins, amongst others. So we're going to be doing this like we do our normal reviews. We'll talk about the overall thoughts, the story, acting, effects, presentation, music, all that good stuff in turn. So we're... Oh, is that a precursor to what she thought of the movie?
Actually,
Let's see. So here we go. Well, Susie, go ahead. Why don't you start us off then with your thoughts?
I hate Keanu Reeves, and I hate Winona Ryder.
Okay.
I thought it was garbage.
Wow. Have you
say,
seen it before?
Yes!
Okay.
I hate that. I can't get past... I mean, one, maybe I could, squeeze by.
Mm-hmm.
But both of them, no. Mm-mm. I'm not doing... that's too much about asking of me. Okay?
Fair enough.
I can't stand Keanu Reeves because he's like the same... Oh, my love. He's like a surfer guy. I can't... No!
Yeah.
I can't take him seriously. And Winona Ryder, she just... Her face just...
What is the problem with Winona? I was so very upset and jealous that Gary Oldman got to drink her and that I did not.
Gross.
She's beautiful.
Fuego, your
Yeah,
thoughts.
right.
It is not completely accurate to everything that my work has done before in all of the adaptations, but none can be perfect, which is fine. I enjoy it visually, but at the end, there is some bad performance.
And honestly, of the time filmmaking, big time. They tried to do stuff that was a throwback to older movies, and it comes
terrible.
off so cheesy now.
Yes.
The
Like the
keyword is
wipes
try.
and the flash forwards and honestly the effects to me were the best part of this entire movie. Everything else really was kind of a rough sit.
Hot garbage.
Although there were times that I really liked what was being done. The first time that Keanu walks in and is interacting with Dracula, and Dracula's shadow is moving around differently. They did a lot more of that than I remembered, so I liked that. But it also felt like they shot the movie on a stage play set. It was really
terrible.
it felt so vignette-y.
Yeah.
None of the actual sets felt like they flowed into the others I don't know. It was just weird. It felt very stage play to me. Good Lord. Yeah.
Sorry, that's how I feel.
Oh, it's
Just
gonna
to
pass on.
Just to dispel on something you said, if you cannot see me in the mirror, how can you see my reflection in the background? It's very strange. It made very little sense to me. All the interpretation, obviously, but yes.
So let's talk about the story. The story is about Keanu Reeves, who is basically taking the place of Renfield as an insurance adjuster or something like that, wasn't he? Mm-hmm. Part of an insurance company?
Of sorts, yes.
And so he was sent out after Dracula's last insurance guy, Renfield, has sort of disappeared. And,
Damn.
Jesus, Susie, stop! God!
It is obviously contagious.
Because it's fucking boring as hell.
I unfortunately did find this movie pretty boring. There were a couple of good scenes, and there were a couple of good blood gushes, as it were. But
There's
ultimately,
also lots of nice, sexy time.
Oh, God.
so the story is he goes and has to tend to Count Dracula. He's trying to be his liaison to the company, but when he shows up, the Count's like, oh, you're going to be here for a month. And so he's forced to stay while his love back home is going through weird things, and Dracula is leaving the castle on a regular basis to go and try and invade his wife, or his girlfriend, as it were. Amongst others. I mean, there's another girl, too, that he kind of invades as a wolf version of himself.
Invades. I'm going to start calling it that now.
Oh, the luscious Lucy.
So,
my, she tasted so nice.
So it's about a years long, ultimately. Even though it didn't feel like it, it was supposed to be a decades long battle between the two, really.
And the book, which is my memoirs and the back and forth of those who fought me, it does take that big span of time. It's crazy.
Okay, so that's the story in and of itself, and it's just presented so choppily and so boringly at the same time. It's so weird. There's the thing I lean on is the effects in this and the acting at times. Gary Oldman's acting specifically. Keanu's still a little bit rough around the edges at this point in his career. So we'll get into the acting separately, but the story I thought was good but choppy. It was an interesting take on the Dracula thing, but it was so choppy. I just couldn't get down with it all the way. Susie?
Hot garbage.
Well, that's ultimately what you say.
I take offense to that.
Okay. Nothing else beyond that? Just hot garbage?
I just didn't enjoy it. I can't get past Keanu Reeves and Winona Ryder. I can't. I didn't like anything about it. I didn't like how it was filmed.
What about Gary Oldman?
Okay,
you like him?
Gary Oldman was amazing.
All right, we'll talk about that in the acting.
Okay. What about my backstory, at least, where you see the initial just
when he was Vlad
made,
and stuff?
And I was still the Impaler.
Okay, yeah, that
so
was
notorious.
That was pretty awesome. You know what I realized at the beginning of this?
Mm-hmm.
You said Anthony Hopkins.
Did I?
Yes, you
He
did.
is.
He's in this, yeah.
He is most
Wait.
definitely.
He's the hunter.
He
He's
is Van
Van
Helsing,
Oh,
the
that's
man
right.
who tried
Yeah.
to vanquish
Forget
me.
what I said.
Yeah.
And as an
I was
actor,
like,
he
wait a minute.
overdoes it terribly in this film.
He does.
Yeah.
He overdoes it a lot. in this
Yeah.
one. Oof.
But no, I love Gary Oldman, so. That was the
Well, we'll
only
get
good
to
thing.
that in the acting.
Here's
But
what
the
makes
story
him
didn't
work.
impress you enough.
No, not
Okay.
at all. It was trivial shit.
Fuegula. What were your
Fuegula,
thoughts?
I've been trying in my head to think of
Fuego Vampiro, as many have spoken of me before.
No, I'm sticking with Fuegula.
Fuegula.
Fuegula it is. This is a film that, while visually stimulating in more ways than one, I must admit, it in performance and direction from Francis Ford Coppola.
Hey, while you're down there,
does
sorry, I
not
couldn't resist.
necessarily-
Couldn't resist
okay.
the joke.
That
Couldn't
is a
resist the
quote
joke.
from a film, The Saint, I saw in the theater and I loved. I thought it was very good. Val Kilmer.
Couldn't resist the joke. Sorry, continue.
I
Fuegula.
would love to drink Elizabeth's shoe. It'd be wondrous. But it's not the best representation. However, it is the best representation of my story and
Damn,
the source
I'm sorry.
material. No, because of the fact that none has been better to cover
It was
story before.
less boring than the original. I will say,
Exactly.
the one that you and I watched together, this
And
was
that
less
is the,
boring
and
than that.
that is the main difference.
No, I
None
will
have
take
done
that over this shit any day of the motherfucking week.
Yeah,
Are you
But
I
kidding
know
as
you
me?
far as
would.
to understand my story, understand the
Yeah, the
narrative.
actual Dracula story and everything.
It is conveyed well. It has problems.
Faster.
It has problems, okay?
Sorry.
It is
Sorry.
not without
Sorry,
fault.
Fuegula.
These two are in their own world. I am asexual.
Well, it's two
I just want
against
I
one
just
on
want
this
to
one,
drink
kind
the
of.
blood. I do not.
I
do not,
appreciate the effects of this movie much more so than the story.
And also the costuming. It takes me back so well. to my
Again, it's
time,
all
and
Dracula that I appreciate. Keep in mind, I am not a big period piece fan, and this was
This is-
very
this
of
is
the
the
See,
time.
and I
so
love
it's
period
before.
pieces.
tough
This-
for me. It's tough for me.
Yes,
this one.
yes. I know.
No.
So let's get into the acting, though. Again, I think the one to write home about is definitely Gary Oldman.
Easily.
Susie's, but Gary Oldman. Go ahead.
Gary
Take this
Oldman was
opportunity
the
to talk
only
about
good
what you liked about
thing
this movie.
About this movie, Gary Oldman was the only good thing about it.
Okay,
And that
what
was,
did you
and
like about him?
I
Remember, they put him in 8 different makeup effects throughout this
right,
movie.
no, and that's the one thing I appreciate about it. I don't think it showed enough of his ability, if that makes sense. I feel like it was too focused on
Oh, excuse me. Sorry.
Keanu and Winona. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it was, even though it was Fuego story.
Have you ever read the actual book?
I lived it, okay? It's every day of my life,
That's
okay?
a good doubt.
But, I don't think they gave Gary Oldman enough to show off what he can really do. And
They leaned on Keanu too much?
yeah, that's
He's
what I
not
felt.
the central character in this film.
Yeah.
I concur with that sentiment very much
Yeah.
so.
Your thoughts on the acting in Fuego?
The
making this a
performance of
thing.
Mr. Oldman, I give him immense credit. He's one of the best actors of his time, possibly of all time, as the man goes to take the books
the nose and the
the books from his face. If there are any blood, he saved them for me.
Oh, God.
But I must say, he is the only memorable part of this film. Tom Waits, Hopkins, so many others. Winona, I lust after her to this day. She still looks the same, much like Keanu, which is very crazy. Many others have aged in the time that has gone by, but neither of them leave a resonant impression the way that hopefully my character did.
Agree. So let's talk about the effects. I liked most of the effects were practical. There were some tiny digital things, but yeah, I really dug the practical effects in this. All of the makeup effects specifically.
There's one that is very vicarious for me. And
Which one?
It's the drinking of Lucy as the wolf. So wonderful to relive.
We need to make this an ongoing
I don't know
character.
about that.
He's like,
I don't know if I agree with that.
He's already.
Fuegula.
I'm already like, is this going on way too long? 'Cause I can't tell.
If it is, I'm sorry.
But
You'll be
yeah.
rid of me soon.
So I loved the effects. I liked the gore when we got it, like especially the big spray of gore. Like early on, I was like, "Oh damn, this is gonna be way gorier than I thought." I liked it. I like that. Your thoughts on the effects, Susie von Slaughter?
Well, I love all the effects, obviously. I love all the practical effects. So that was the only other good thing about this movie.
Okay. Did you like any of them more than the other? The bat, the werewolf, the old man, young man.
No,
Okay.
nothing really stood out.
Okay. Fair enough. Just
Sorry.
no impressions made.
I'm sorry, Keanu.
fucks given.
Keanu and Winona, you guys just ruined it.
Fuego.
Probably the wrong person
Fuegula,
to be
sorry,
here.
excuse me.
Fuegula.
You know, I must make it a segue into the set design and the way.
You don't want to give any thoughts on the effects?
Well, they were all lived by me, I must admit. But
Oh Lord.
as I said, the transformation, as I drank Lucy in the graveyard, is tremendous. I also did enjoy the way they showed the transition from my youth back into the olden days, and just the decomposition practically, how this shell can wither so quickly, and it's very crazy. But I cannot give enough credit to Mr. Oldman and everything that he brought to this performance. It was fantastic.
Now get into the set design you were going to.
They did such a wonderful recreation of where I stayed at the time. I have had to go into hiding. I'm very happy for this invitation today. But I missed that castle so, and it was wonderfully done despite the soundstage stuff.
Well, I mean,
that you mentioned.
yeah, the soundstage stuff is really rough. The castle exterior looks cool, but the rest of it was so soundstagey.
Garbage.
The actual house, like Lucy's house and all that, and the courtyard, all that was really cool. That was good. Actual set design and
I forgot to say
locations
I liked
and
all of
stuff
her
like that.
suitors that helped in the. None of them were as handsome as those men who we saw in the film. None of them that tried to track me down afterwards.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, I mean, the effects stood out the most for me in this one. The music, did you guys like the music? I mean, I think some of the music holds up pretty well. The score, not so much for you.
Keanu.
Hung up.
That has
She is.
nothing to do with the music.
Fuego, your thoughts on the music, Skipper?
It is wonderfully gothic. It gets an element of dread across very well in especially the back half. But it's
Back half.
Well, yes. In the third act, as they
I'm a
are
child.
pursuing me, they try to find me, and that is really the extent of that. But it was actually very well done. I wish I had the quill in the paper so I could write down and remember who actually did the score, because I felt it did the entire element of my pursuits of her justice.
All right. I'm ready to kill this one.
He is ready to kill
So,
me.
let's go ahead and finish this review up. I am so sorry, the poll. Because the poll requested this one. So
Why?
glad I'm not disappointing any one person on
Did
this.
I
Just all the
perhaps make
patrons.
this that
We're disappointing all the patrons with this
Did I
review.
perhaps make this that much worse?
You tell us in the comments down below. Did Fuegula make this 100 times worse
Should
or
he
more
come
bearable? Should Fuegula return? God help us all if it ever happens.
I would love to return and drink all your blood.
Let us know in the comments down
I
below.
want it for this.
Thank you very much. Until next time, I've been Cecil.
Susila.
Yep.
I have been Fuego and beer.
Just fucking say Fuegula, you son of a bitch.
AKA Fuegula. This man, he coins a phrase and then he wants it every goddamn time.
And remember, stay
stay
scared.